All right, we are live. It worked out just perfect
Hi.
that time. Good morning. Good morning. How are you
Good
doing today,
morning.
Lisa?
Good. It's a beautiful day outside.
Oh, it really is. I have to tell you, I have little tiny plants coming up.
You got sprouts.
We got little sprouts. So we did seeds of onions and seeds for lettuce, and they're already having little sprouts. It's only been like a week or 10 days.
Cool.
And then we bought an already um, growing strawberry plant, and I got two strawberries off of it. That's pretty cool.
Oh, there must have been a mature strawberry.
It was, yeah, it was. And let's see. And then we bought an already mature tomato plant, and it has some little tiny baby green tomatoes on it right
Wow, that was fast.
now. Like I said, we bought those kind of mature already, so we could watch it happen.
There you go.
Yeah. So what did you do for Easter? Did you spend time with family? How was your weekend?
We had a quiet weekend, and so most of the weekend we spent just doing some things at home. We got a new chicken coop area or run or whatever, so we put that together, and then just a nice, relaxing thought, just kind of thinking type Sunday. So it was a nice
Nice.
day.
That is good. I'm going to go over here to our comments just to make sure, see if anyone wants to check in this morning and say good morning, say hi, and where are you? Vicky Greco, hi there. Nice to see you. Excuse me. And uh, yeah, the weather was interesting in Kansas City. We were in Kansas City with the kids, and Saturday was really quite beautiful, which was great because that was the birthday party day, and we were outside. And then Sunday, Easter morning, we were going to church, and it turned cold and kind of rainy, yucky. So the pastor at the church where we visited, where our kids go, where Justin and Emily go anyway, he got up and he says, well, this is typical Kansas weather, or Missouri, because they're actually in Missouri. He said, it's colder today than it was on Christmas Day when we were all together, our Christmas Eve services. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
it can just be that. Yeah, it was bright and sunny and great on Christmas and cold and yucky on uh, on Easter. So you just never know. Let's see. Good morning.
It actually says when I speak, it answers as you because I'm on your thing. But
Oh yeah, right. Like I say, wait a second, who did that? That would be you. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you, Vicki. That's very nice. Okay. They say the theys and who are in style and color. You remember, was it back in maybe the late 80s or 90s where everybody was doing their colors? There was even but everybody had their colors done and all this. And they say that variations of teal every person can wear. It might be a lighter teal or medium, but teal seems to be one of those colors that every skin tone and hair color can wear. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
that's cool.
Yeah. So, Lisa, fill us in on any details. What do we need to know? Any housekeeping stuff today?
well, last week's word was um, garden, right? What was last week's word?
Oh, boy, my brain went blank. No, joy. Garden was the week
Joy.
before, and then joy.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. And so this week we were going to tackle Carefree, but before we got into that, did anybody have any experiences with the word joy or thinking about the word joy that they'd like to share with us? I know that Easter Sunday was very joyful for me. And so without even thinking about it, it's funny how words kind of seed the subconsciousness,
Mm-hmm.
and then you end up enacting what you think about or frame up. So I felt like joy actually was now looking back on the week, it's like, oh yeah, I did. I had a very joyful weekend. I mean, a joyful week. So
Yeah. Me too. Our little granddaughter, August Rain, who is 3.5, actually spent the night with us in the hotel. And so
Aw.
my week was very, very joyful just because the whole thing of seeing both families. Alicia was so shocked for her birthday. Well, she kept thinking we were coming and then we never showed up, right? So she thought we'd be there at breakfast and then she thought we'd be there at Justin's house, just in the back of her mind. And so we waited in about an hour. They'd been over there an hour, hour and a half. And then we went in and she's just broke down. I thought you weren't going to come.
Oh.
So she was full of joy, and it was joy to see that. But and have August Rain spend the night. And she, when I asked her at the table, and I said, "Well, I sure would like it if you come to the hotel with Papa and Mimi and be with us." And she said, "Okay, I'll go." And I was shocked because she's very much a mommy's girl. She doesn't really want to get away too far. So that was very, very, very special. So we had a, like you said, a weekend of joy. Certainly made it. Anybody else out there? Did y'all have something you would like to share with us about joy in your weekend or last week, where the since the word of the week was joy, did it make a difference or did you notice it? I don't see any comments yet.
So, but this week's word is carefree. I liked when I picked that. I thought, gosh, we've got so many things that we're always worried about. So I thought carefree would be a nice talk about how do you, well, for me, the first thought was how to wake up and be carefree in the morning.
Interesting. Yeah. No, when you picked that, I thought, well, that's an interesting word. I don't know that I would have come up with that. And I like it a lot. It's like, okay, so what does that kind of mean? So since you picked it, what does that mean to you? How does that hit you?
Well, it hits me. The reason I picked it was because it hits you both directions. Like sometimes you think carefree is being irresponsible, like if
Okay.
you're not. And then the other direction is like to give your trust over to somebody else or something else and be carefree. I choose to think of the latter, which is that when we have all kinds of things going on around us, that to wake up in the morning and just think somebody else is holding us and taking care of us is that's what I think carefree is. It's almost like being like a child again, I guess. You know how children are carefree.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And Lisa, I'm picking up a little bit of crackling just to let you know. So I don't know where that's coming from. Yeah, I think it's I was thinking about it. I think it's an attitude. I think it's a spirit. Again, we get to choose that, which, I love the fact that we get so many choices. And just an attitude of not letting things maybe get you down, or even though you have stuff to do, you can have that carefree attitude. Maybe less stress or stress free. I don't know if there's ever such a thing as stress free, because I think, as we talked a couple of weeks ago, I think stress is there can be good stress and bad stress, but carefree is just that kind of attitude that you're just gonna kind of just let go and walk through your life, like you're talking about when you wake up in the morning, to have that attitude of, okay, God's got this today. I don't really have to worry about it. I'm going to take my steps and do what I do, but not let it pull me down.
Yeah, like having a seatbelt on.
Oh, well, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. So yes. So then we can just drive on down the road like God's our seatbelt. Is that kind of weird?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
That is good. What are some ways you think that we can help get that attitude?
I think we can get that attitude through. Well, that's a good question. Let's see. How would you develop that attitude? I would say that you have to start realizing that you didn't have control over things in the first place. If we go with the car analogy, when you get into your car and drive down the road, it is a trust situation.
Mm-hmm.
you're trusting that you're not going to get in an accident. And then we do things to secure ourselves, but and so life is that way too. It's if we understand that everything's not in our control, but we do have an advocate, who helps us throughout the day, angels and other things, or people. People can be angels as well. Then I think we can let go of all of the different responsibilities that we put on our own shoulders in an imaginary way.
Right. But they certainly can feel very real when we take them on, and it's kind of like, I heard this somewhere, and I don't remember where I originally heard it, but it's always kind of stayed with me. Sometimes we hold ourselves down. It's like having, let's just say, uh, a rope or ribbons or something. Let's say a rope that's got one arm over here and one arm over here, and we can't move our arms. And our legs are the same way. So there's a rope on our leg, on both legs, and then maybe there's even one kind of at our neck. And sometimes, and we're putting those things on ourselves because we think we're in control. So maybe you've got a child that's driving you crazy, and that's your right arm over here that's got you bogged down, and then you've got something else over here, and pretty soon you're tied down, and we just cannot even move. And it's not until we release those bonds and say, okay, I'm just not gonna, I can't control them anyway. And I remember the feeling of that. It was back in around the 2011 and 12 when we were going through our, interesting time, for lack of a better word, when our company changed and when we went through our whole financial, whatever you want to call that. That was when I felt like I truly was just tied down by everything. And my life did not seem too carefree, let me just say. But when I realized that those ropes were there by my own doing, that I just thought I was controlling those things. And when I just turned it over and okay, Lord, I can't handle this. I don't know how you're going to fix it. I don't know how you're going to bring us through, but I know you will. And he did. We're past that and all of that. But when you're in the middle of it, sometimes you feel so tied down or heavy in your spirit. And when we can begin to release that, that gives us, that begins to give us that freedom to where we can have that, if not stress-free, but that carefree attitude of God's got this. I don't have to have those ropes tying me down anymore.
Yeah. Well, and Carefree, I have to admit, I don't know if I talked about this earlier, but when we had the gusts that were 60-mile-per-hour gusts just recently. So my greenhouse outside is just a metal frame with a plastic tarp around it, And so the wind tends to take it off like a kite. So I'm out there and it's gusting about, I'd say 50 miles per hour. And I'm sitting on the metal frame trying to figure out how I'm going to keep this down. I've anchored it everywhere I can, and it's lifting me and the greenhouse off the ground there this just recently. And Paul comes home and he goes, "Can I help you?" But in between that time, I'm thinking, I was really concerned about the greenhouse flying away and flying into somebody's car and all the different things. And so basically, I just said, I just kind of said a little mindful prayer. And the thought came to me, it was like, you don't have control over the wind. And I was like, oh, yeah, I don't. and so I should just let, that go. And in my head, it wasn't that I wasn't still doing something to contain the problem, but all of a sudden my shoulders relaxed and my body, my muscles relaxed and everything relaxed. And then it's not like the rescue came right away, but Paul came walking up, and we brought some cinder blocks around and we anchored it down. So
did you keep it from flying away?
Yes, we did. It did have some damage, but the thing is that even if it had flown away, I think that despite Carefree is not about bad things not happening.
True.
Carefree is about like I said, it's like a seatbelt across us to protect us from letting our minds kind of hold us down and create more stress and things like that in the same situation. Because like I was still blowing away, I was still all of that, but I could take on that carefree attitude because of my prayer, and then I felt the muscles relax and the structure of my bones and everything relax. So it's the same situation. You're just not expending as much mental energy because of the trust and the faith and letting go of the fact that you just can't control the wind, you can't control, you know, that type of thing.
True.
Oh yeah, Kathy Weaver says the list of things here. I'll show this. The list of things that we do not have control over is much longer than the list that we do. Yes, so true, so true.
So true. Although some of us try to keep thinking that we're in control of more than what we are.
Yes, but that's what I was saying. It's like if we get up in the morning and we kind of let go of that, it also gives us more energy to do other things, which is, I'm big on energy management. So the thing is that if we can let go of things, that energy that we were holding our body really tight with can be used to do other things.
Yeah. I think, and I'm going to go back to when you talked originally about getting up in the mornings. The thing that we do have control of is our faith. Are we going to walk in the faith or the fear, like we've talked about this whole last year? And how we're going to approach the day. Because I have to say, after being in Kansas City this week, when you get up on Easter Sunday morning, it's real. What are we going to allow to control us? Okay, so I'm going to go just see if you can follow me with that. So we can get up and we can see the cloudy, rainy, cold, snowy that they have there day, and let that just really dampen and affect us for the whole day. Or we can just realize we can't control the weather. I mean, the weather kind of is what it is. And are you going to allow that to upset you, or allow that to keep you from having a joyful day, or allow that to keep you from feeling that carefree spirit, or having that carefree attitude, from just something as simple as the weather when you wake up? Is the sun out or is the sun not? And I tend to really like the sun, which is why I love being here in Vegas. I just love it that almost every day we wake up to a beautiful sunshiny day. But those who don't live here, who live in other places like Kathy and several of the other gals, and that goes the same way. If you get one of those phone calls in the morning that just turns you the wrong way, whatever that might be, we have that choice every time. Are we going to let that phone call affect us for the whole day and just interrupt and dampen our spirit, or are we going to choose to just let it go? I know there's different opinions on the various Disney shows and all that, but that song that's in
Let it go.
yeah, the song "Let It Go" is pretty good. The words, the music's pretty good. Like, let it go. When us as believers, we're like, let it go and let God,
Yeah.
And when the more we live in that spirit, I think it really helps. It helps how we walk through each individual day. Oh, Vicki, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And I'm so glad to have you. I think this is your first time that you've been on with us, or at least that I've seen your name. So I'm so happy that you're here. I always believe whoever shows up is meant to be wherever we are, right? You show up,
Exactly.
there must be a message God's got for each of us, right?
Yeah, if you look at a really young child, though, the carefree attitude that they have is this is why I think we love being around kids. They giggle more, they smile more, they have fun with whatever they're doing
They
more.
do.
They're not considering the heaviness and the darkness of the world, sitting there with a cup of coffee, mourning over, what they're going to have to do for the day. Kids are like, they get up, they pull you out of bed, they're happy, they're giggling, and That's what I love. I mean, maybe that's why I like my chickens too. Chickens are pretty carefree.
Because they're pretty carefree, aren't they? They just go out. They know you're going to take care of them and you're going to feed them, and then they just
Yep.
go doing their little thing.
Yeah. And they're really cute. The other day, this is off topic, but yesterday I fell down. My ankle rolled and I fell into the gravel, and I'm sitting there, and it wasn't a bad injury or anything. It was just kind of one of those, falls. And all 8 of the chickens, whoop, right up in my face, and they just
Aw,
sat there and they're just looking at me. You okay? Because we need food, and you give us food. So
you take care of us, so get up and be
yeah.
okay. Yes, Vicki, I do recall you. Yes, I know exactly who you are, and that's why I'm so happy to see you here this morning. Um, so I love that. Yes, and they're at they're at the church. So I appreciate you being here, and I'm glad you're going to be at lunch too. And anybody on here remembering we do have our Fun Fearless lunch next week, and then we're having a Fun Fearless lunch in Kansas City on May 17th. I know that's not in the middle of whatever we're talking about, but since it came up, it's so fun. I'm looking forward to that. And but back to what you're saying, Lisa, I agree. And I so saw that this weekend. The kids, Henry and August Rain and Kelly, who's only 18 months, he's following those bigger kids, and he is totally careful. He's just watching, and he's going to do whatever they're doing, and he's laughing and running after them, and they're picking up rocks from the backyard because, well, basically they had thrown them into the backyard. And then Bill said, well, I think those are dinosaur eggs. We better pick those eggs up. And so they go out there, and that's exactly what they do. They're now picking up. They just kind of go with the flow, and we can learn a lot for just watching how kids go with the flow. And I know we all have our things that we have to do, but I go back to, it's really an attitude, like you were saying, Lisa, when you said your prayer, and whatever you do to release those things, that control or that anxiety or the anxiousness, you can feel it in your body. You can just feel it in your body, how you relax. And I'm a big proponent of deep breathing. So it's like, just kind of just like let it go, like back to the song again. And just allow yourself to just to chill a little bit, and not have to take on the world.
Well, and allow ourselves to kind of enjoy the world like a child. I mean, we really, in essence, we are children of God, and that is the thing, is that I think He wants us to have joy, and I think He wants us to relax and let Him kind of handle it. How just like he's the parent, in the sense that He's got this, for us, and He really does care for us. So I mean, that allows us to kind of cast our burdens and not have to always carry them all by ourselves. So, being carefree to me is also adopting that childlike attitude and enjoying the moments that we're in, and I think it allows us to release uh, the strings, like you were saying, that hold us, be more flexible, and to enjoy more things, enjoy the people that we're right there in. Most of the time when somebody has passed away, the first thing I hear from many people is, gosh, I wish I had enjoyed my time with that person when they were here. And so to me, Carefree allows us to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I have to admit, I don't think that I would be a typical type A personality. Okay, so I'm not that, you know. However, I do like things to be organized and well, everything in its proper place. Anybody who's been around, if I'm doing whether it's a luncheon or, this weekend trying to have somewhat, I guess, control, of which I had none. But sometimes for me, I have to really consciously tell myself to just chill, to just relax and let things unfold like they should, because I can uh, it's like a good, and every good thing. This would be a great topic sometime. The very thing that you're gifted at that makes you really good at something is also the very thing that, if it's overdone, is your bad side.
Yep.
Okay. It's a weird thing. And so, because I do, like, if I'm entertaining, I love to have everything just so. I want to have the food prepared. I've thought it all out so that everybody, because I want to be a good hostess. I want to make sure everybody's taken care of and all that stuff. And so then you go other to places, and we had a great time. I'm not being critical. I'm just saying that my mind always goes to, oh, I could have probably, I don't know. Saying, well, we could have done this and it would have gone a little smoother over here, so I'm always in that try to fix it. I kind of have a fix it mentality, or how can I put this puzzle together? And I have to tell myself, just like, okay, again, let go, let God, just let things unfold, enjoy every moment, bloom where you're planted, back to that we've have said in the past too. And I think that is what having a carefree attitude is
Mm-hmm.
a big part of that, of just enjoying the moments that you do have, because those kind of special things, whether it's with your family or great friends, if we're always trying to manage it all, maybe that's the thing. I'm always trying to manage things. I like that word better than control. I think I'm going to say,
We'll soften it.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm the same way. I'm really relaxed in a lot of places, and so you guys just have to laugh about this. But the thing is that my husband, he's been emptying the dishwasher a lot, and I'm taking over other roles. But I have a certain way I like the silverware in the drawer. Okay, so at first he'd leave, and I'd kind of rearrange the drawer and thing, and he'd come back. What? You know, what'd you do? And finally I had to release that. And I know this sounds really trivial and silly, but what I realized is it was like, what does it matter where the spoon is in this drawer? you know, and just let that go and say it just doesn't matter on the whole scheme of everything. There's so many more important things than how you put the spoon in that drawer. and and so that's when we let go of that energy, I truly believe when we let go of those energies, we have more energy to put into other things, and we have more joy in our life, more, and we don't fight with our husbands as much.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when I think it was when Justin was born. This is one of my other things I learned from my mother. Um, so I just had Justin, and it was just a lot at that. What I thought was a lot at that time with the new baby and trying to keep the clothes washed. And so she came, and she doesn't fold the towels the same way that I do, right?
I
And it's like,
understand.
oh, well, she says, well, I hope this is okay. And at that moment, I remember thinking, and I said to her, I said, at this point, Mother, I don't care how you fold them. I'm just so glad to have them folded, So when we allow other people to help us, so then be grateful to not try to manage how they're doing it, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I love that, Kathy. Say the biggest fight we have is with ourselves. Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, that's a profound statement there.
See the one from Kathy that says tucking a chair in under the table correctly, or closing a drawer all the way. Oh, as opposed to just closing it halfway and thinking that's good. I love that. Little things like that. Isn't it funny how we can get so caught up in some of those things? Like, okay, let's just relax that. So it sounds to me like we've kind of come up with our own definition of carefree.
Yeah.
And so carefree being releasing the negative energy is part of that,
Mhm.
right? Like you were saying, being carefree is relieving the negative energy and feeling like we have to be in control of everything.
Yeah. And I also feel like it's kind of going back to that childlike carefree attitude, just like giving yourself permission to not worry about everything for a minute, giving yourself permission to giggle or dance in the rain, in the puddles, things like that. It's those are things that I think we still need to recapture and enjoy.
Oh, absolutely. Matter of fact, I was telling you about how Sunday was. Both of the kids, Casey, I call him Casey, but Kelly and August Rain had on their rubber boots. Mom put them on specifically so they could jump in the puddles as we walked into church. And they came out of church and they were hitting every little puddle that was out there. It's like, oh my gosh, that is just that wonderful thing. And when you watch that, it brings such joy. And like you say, what can we do that's that same thing of jumping in the puddles? I had on my high heels. I wasn't going to jump in the puddles, wear my rubber boots. So
well, and sometimes it's like we're so worried about certain things that we've predetermined this is how it has to be, that we can't have the flexibility of the carefreeness of being a child. And my husband, who's in the counselor, he said that one of the things he uses all the time is when we have light and kind of taken away from us, it usually has to do with, like, we've been having pillow fights, and then we go into a store and we pick up a pillow to have a pillow fight, the kid, and they start having a pillow fight. And I'm not condemning this. It's just he was talking about how we relearn things. The mother comes up and goes, you can't do that, and then the child's like, what? I'm having a pillow fight, and so it starts to train the brain. Oh, you're not supposed to be spontaneous in a certain area. And I'm not saying you don't teach your children to respect other people's things and stuff like that, but how we go about that is what steals from us, that childlike carefreeness. And so I think it's a choice that we have to bring it back and reprogram our brain to allow ourselves to be carefree. Like, can you walk in puddles in high heels? Yes, you can.
I chose not to, but
I know, but I'm just saying, like, there is that ability to, and you see it in movies, right? You see where the person, like, breaks out of that eggshell of control, and they get out there and they just do whatever, and they let mud fall on them on a pretty blue dress or something like that, and we laugh and we enjoy that, and it feels good to us. Then my argument is we need more carefree.
I agree 100%. Lisa, do you want to read the note here from Chelsea? It's probably long to put up on the board.
Yeah. It says, Chelsea said, it used to bother me that my husband would get home and start cleaning things up if there was a dish in the sink or a toy on the floor, etc. I took it as criticism, and then at some point I learned that it was okay. It was his way of releasing stress of the day and expressing his love to me and our family. And now, instead of taking it as an attack on my homemaking habits, I just let him do his thing and I say thanks, and we have so much more peace in our house. Yeah, that's wonderful. I know exactly what you're talking about, Chelsea, though, because my husband used to come home and do the exact same thing. Oh, there's dust on that trim. Oh, there's this. And I'd be like,
yeah, and isn't that interesting? Because that's a big lessons there in just our perspective. And like you say, I'm sure he wasn't being critical. It was his. I know when I'm out of town, I have to come home and start. We leave the house clean when we leave, but when we come back, it always feels so good. But there still is a thing about. I don't know, it's nesting something. I'm going to wipe the cabinet, or whatever. Just okay, like this is my home. This is where I want to be, and I have to be careful of that with the dishwasher because Bill, he's now cooking, and so then he's very good at cleaning up after himself. But he knows anyway. So you kind of work what balances. But I love, Chelsea, what you said. when we change our perspective, does the silverware have to be in the drawer the same way, right? Right, Lisa? Mine is loading the dishwasher, and I still kind of do that. But now he just steps aside and says, okay, come do your magic, because I can get more dishes in the dishwasher than he can.
Exactly.
My brain just knows how to put them in there. I mean, is that a big deal in life? No. So why is it matter?
It's so huge.
Oh gosh, no, Chelsea, you're not alone. Isn't it nice to actually admit something out loud and realize that you and half of the world is the same way, about these things that we do to ourselves. Like, oh my gosh.
I guess that's one of the things with Carefree is it's like in our mind, we've made certain things bigger than what they really are.
Yeah.
So
very true.
So a carefree attitude kind of helps get things back into perspective.
It does. It does. How can anyone put the plates in backwards? I don't know. Does somebody do that, Kathy? It's the ordering of how to go in order. Like, oh, my analytical. I do have a little bit of an analytical brain, so now y'all are seeing a little bit come out. All right, we are past the hour, which is okay because we gave ourselves permission to go past the hour.
I love how Delinda has now been carefree about the show going past the hour.
I know, because I was trying so hard to keep it within there. So all of you who made comments today, your name will go in our raffle for the end of the month for the April giveaway. And we'll do it. I think we decided, right, Lisa, the first Tuesday in May, we'll actually name the winners of the raffles. So just every week that you comment, so all of you who commented today, name will go in there as well. So I'm so glad that you were here. No control. The show just kind of goes where it goes. I mean, we just enjoyed it. And thank you for all your comments this morning. It's so fun when y'all respond and get engaged with us. I love seeing your comments. So, Lisa, last thing. Did I forget any of our housekeeping things or any last things you want to comment on today?
No, I just want to challenge everybody to have a carefree day.
Yes. How about a carefree week?
There we go.
Carefree week. Do a carefree week. Get up and don't let the good or bad weather affect you negatively. Don't let release all the negative energy and just kind of a carefree attitude. I mean, I'm so glad you picked that word. I was, like I said, I was surprised by it. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. I must have needed to have a little more carefree attitude. So that's good.
There we go.
All right, everybody. Just so glad. Thank you so much. I know you always have so many other places you could be. And when you choose to be with us, I just so appreciate it. We love you very much. And remember that life is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. So choose to have a carefree day and a carefree week. And we'll see you next week, same time. Thanks so much. Take care, everybody.